Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now Bitcoin is still playing out this short-term bullish divergence as the price is now running into this critical area of resistance as more liquidations are likely coming very soon, while Ethereum is still repeating history here in the short term. So I'll be talking about all of that and so much more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the 4-day Bitcoin chart, and right now the super trend indicator on this 4-day Bitcoin chart is still currently sitting in the red. So over the last 1 day, not much has changed on this chart right here, and the same can be said about this 2-day Bitcoin chart, because at least as of right now, we're still currently trending in the bearish direction, forming lower highs and lower lows, forming a descending broadening wedge pattern with resistance at around 68,500 and support at around 53,500. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart, as of right now, we still have this area of support which we've just recently bounced from, sitting in between around 56,000 to 57,000 approximately. And right now, as of recording this video, we are currently just about to run into this area of resistance in between around 60,000 to 61,000. And above 61k, we also have this level of resistance at around 63,000 and a little bit more resistance at around 64,500 and much more resistance in between around 67,000 to 68.3k. So as of right now, those are the resistance and support areas on the chart that I'm paying attention to. And in case you're new to all of this, usually the price of Bitcoin struggles around these key areas of resistance, and oftentimes we see a lot of buying coming into play when the price enters into these areas of support. And we also have major support down here in between around 51,000 to 53,000. So that's the situation right now on the daily time frame. We're just now about to run into this area of resistance, and other than that, not a lot has really changed over the last 1 day on this chart right here. And so if we're taking a look at this 2-hour Bitcoin chart, obviously over the last 1 day, we've continued to see this bullish divergence play out pretty much exactly as expected, because obviously I said in my last video just yesterday that we should be expecting either a slight bullish relief here in the short term, or at the very least, just some choppy sideways price action. So basically a bit of a break or a relief from all of this bearish price action here. And so once again, this bullish divergence on the 2-hour Bitcoin chart has already continued to play out over the last couple of days here. And considering it's only on the 2-hour time frame, I don't necessarily expect this to continue to play out much longer. Possibly over the next 1 day, we could continue to see a bit more of a bullish relief. But basically, something on the 2-hour chart, for example, does not often play out over weeks or months. It usually plays out over the span of just a few days before it starts losing relevance. And so that's the situation right now here in the short term. Once again, the bullish divergence still likely to play out just in the short term over the next 1 day or so, but possibly not much longer than that. And also do remember that all of this, at least as of right now, is still occurring within this bearish trend here in the daily time frame. Once again, at least for now. And just before talking about some important liquidation levels that we need to pay attention to, first, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, personally, I take just about all of my trades over on Bybit, so I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit down below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link down below this video to make a Bybit account and deposit on that account, then you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. And also, if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here, which is a massive lucky draw happening right now over on Bybit, where you could potentially win up to $100,000 just by trading crypto using the link down below this video. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, first link down below this video. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there is also Bitflex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitflex, and so I'll also make sure to leave a link to Bitflex down below this video as an alternative crypto exchange. And with that being said, if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, at least as of right now, we have a decent amount of liquidity sitting at around 62,000 approximately, more specifically in between around 61.9k to 62.1k. We have a major area of liquidity. And on top of that area of liquidity, we also have a decent amount of liquidity sitting just above the current price, at least as of recording this video. And this area of liquidity is sitting in between around 59.9k to 60.2k, so right around that $60,000 level. And so this means it's very likely sometime soon, possibly over the next one day, it's very likely that the price of Bitcoin will take out this liquidity, basically hit that 60k level to liquidate a lot of these short positions. And so those are the two major levels of liquidity to pay attention to right now, at least here in the short term. And we do have a little bit of liquidity to the downside here, sitting at around 55.7k to 55.9k, so just below 56,000. But with that being said, it's not as much liquidity compared to what we have at these slightly higher levels right here. And so a likely scenario over the next one day here in the short term is the price of Bitcoin could drift a little bit higher to take out this liquidity, at least right here, close to $60,000, to continue to play out this bullish divergence, which is potentially happening right now, basically as I'm recording this video, but I also obviously mentioned this in my last video. And so this is what I'm expecting just in the short term, a little bit more of a bullish relief, possibly over the next one day, give or take. And with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the 3-day time frame, right now the price of ETH is still technically within a bearish trend on the 3-day time frame with lower highs and lower lows. But with that being said, just in the short term during the bearish trend, we're still playing out a bit of a relief from all of the bearish price action, considering the RSI, for example, close to a week ago, around 1 to 2 weeks ago, got very close to oversold territories on the 3-day time frame, telling us we're due to see a bit of a reset in the RSI by playing out a relief in the price action. And as for support and resistance on this chart, these levels have not really changed over the last one day, so we still have a lot of support at around 2,500 and more support at around 2,150 to 2.2k. And we also have a significant level of resistance to pay attention to at around 2.8k and some more resistance at around 3.2k. And if we're zooming into the short term, looking at the 4-hour time frame right now and comparing it to what we saw back here near the bottom of the March 2020 crash on the same time frame, the 4-hour time frame, we can still see that we're seeing very similar price action compared to right now and what we saw back here. Because in both of these situations right here, we saw that flash crash in the price, the quick move to the downside, followed by a quick bounce back up. And then a couple of days later, another short-term pullback, forming a higher low in the price, and then a bit more of a bullish relief a few days after that. And then basically ever since we saw the end of that short-term bullish relief right there, we've been playing out a lot of choppy sideways price action, just consolidating sideways here in the price, very similar to what we saw back here. And so just over the next day or so, just in the short term, once again, it's likely that the price will continue to range here in the short term in between basically these lows at around 2,500 and this high at close to 2.8k, basically in that price range in between 2.5k and 2.8k. It's likely that we'll stay here at least for the next day, maybe a little bit longer, but just in the short term, this is what I'm expecting. And if we're taking a look at what came next, back in this previous price action back here, basically entering into April 2020, we eventually saw a little bit more of a bullish relief later on, basically exiting this sideways price range once we actually confirmed the breakout above the range highs. That did act as resistance for some time, but once we broke out above that level, we can see we saw that next move to the upside. And so that is why 2.8k is a critical level to pay attention to. Not only is it the range high for this range right here, but also zooming out to that 3-day time frame, we have that critical Fibonacci level, which was previous support right at around 2.8k. And so while the price is below 2.8k just in the short term, we're relatively neutral, basically in a sideways price range. But if we can actually see a breakout above 2.8k, that is the point where we can start flipping more bullish again, at least in the short term for the following days, if we confirm a breakout above 2.8k. And with that being said, taking a look at the price of Solana on the daily time frame, and right now the price of Solana, at least as of recording this video, is still hanging around this area of support, sitting in between around 140 to 144. So at least for now, it's still possible we could find a bit of support right here, even though the price temporarily actually dipped below that area just over the last couple of days. But of course, like I mentioned recently here on the channel, for the bulls out there, we need to quickly reclaim this area by seeing a quick move back above 140 to 144 in order to continue to hold this area as support. And so that's potentially what we're seeing right now, because at least over the last one day, we have seen a bit of a short-term bounce from around this area. And so obviously if this continues, this is still acting as support, at least for now. And even if we see a break to the downside, confirming below around 140, and especially if we reject from this area, confirming it as new resistance, then in that case, we have this major area of support in between around 120 to 128. And that's basically the area of support for this massive sideways price range right here that we've actually been in for many months now. Basically, ever since around the start of April, we've been in this massive sideways price range in between that area of support that I just mentioned and this area of resistance sitting in between 183 to 187. And of course, even before we can make it up towards that area of resistance, we have some other resistance to pay attention to. First of all, at around 158 to 162, give or take, and around 170 to 175. And so overall, the trend at the moment on the daily time frame is actually neutral, because we're seeing relatively horizontal highs and horizontal lows, which is a neutral trend or a sideways price range. But obviously during a choppy sideways price range, we can see, of course, short-term bullish and short-term bearish moves, which over the last 1 week or so, we've seen a short-term bearish move. But right now, if we can actually hold this area as support, we could potentially see a little bit more of a short-term bullish move. But remember, all of this, at least for now, is occurring within a massive sideways price range. And if you want to actually trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, then once again, check out those links down below this video to claim those extra bonuses. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways like right here, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions. And the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.